A cold wind swept through the hospital corridor, carrying with it the scent of rain and decay. Nurse Emily hurried along, her footsteps echoing in the cavernous space. She'd worked the night shift at Mercy Hospital for almost a decade and was intimately familiar with every creak and groan of the aging building. But tonight, a deep unease gnawed at her, making her skin crawl. It was just another dreary November night, or so she thought. The fluorescent lights flickered overhead, casting long, distorted shadows that danced menacingly on the walls. Every rustle of paper or cough from a distant room sent a jolt of anxiety through her. 2 weeks ago, she'd worked the night Mrs. Alden. A 78-year-old patient in room 209 had died under mysterious circumstances. Her passing had been swift and unexpected, leaving behind a tangle of unanswered questions. The initial reports had pointed towards cardiac arrest, a sudden and unfortunate event that Emily had witnessed many times before. But there was something about this case that refused to be laid to rest. Emily paused outside room 209, her gaze lingering on the darkened windows. She couldn't shake the feeling that tonight would be different. A shiver ran down her spine as she realized the door was slightly ajar. Curiosity and a sense of foreboding compelled her to step inside. The room was empty, devoid of any recent activity. The bedsheets were untouched, the machine silent. But the air was thick with a faint scent of lavender, reminiscent of the perfume that Mrs. Alden had worn. Emily closed the door, her heartbeat echoing the rhythmic beep of the machines. As she turned to leave, a whisper, barely audible, yet chillingly clear, stopped her in her tracks. "He lied," the whisper rasped. "He killed me." Terror momentarily paralyzed her, but the urgency in the voice spurred her into action. Spinning around, she scanned the room, half expecting to see a ghostly apparition, but the bed was empty. There was no one there. Her pulse still hammering against her ribs, Emily retreated to the safety of the hallway. Her rational mind screamed at her to dismiss it as a trick of her exhausted imagination. But a sliver of doubt persisted, whispering insidious questions she couldn't ignore. Was she losing her sanity? Or was there something sinister lurking within those four walls? Sleep that night was a distant memory. Emily tossed and turned, haunted by dreams of a frail old woman reaching out to her from beyond the grave, her eyes pleading for help. The next evening, armed with a resolute determination and a flashlight, she sought out her colleague Sarah in the dimly lit staff room. Over cups of lukewarm coffee, Emily recounted the unsettling events of the night before. To her surprise, Sarah didn't dismiss her story as mere fatigue or fancy. "You're not the first," Sarah said softly, her gaze distant, as if peering into a shared memory. "Others have heard whispers in that room." One even swore she saw the ghost of Mrs. Alden in the window, pale and translucent. A chill crept down Emily's spine. Fear and determination battled within her, but the latter won out. Driven by a need for answers and a desire to lay the ghost of room 209 to rest, Emily made a decision. She would return to the room, as twilight painted the sky in hues of purple and orange. Emily found herself standing once again outside room 209. The setting sun cast long shadows that stretched and distorted like grasping claws. A single ray of light illuminated a small framed photograph on the table outside the room. It was a picture of Mrs. Alden, a kind smile crinkling her eyes. Taking a deep breath, Emily reached out, her fingers lingering on the cool glass. In that instant, she felt a surge of empathy for the woman whose final days had been spent within these sterile walls. With newfound resolve, she turned the doorknob and stepped inside. The room seemed different now, charged with a heavy silence that pressed against her ears. The bed was unmade, but where moments ago it had smelled faintly of lavender, now there was only the antiseptic temps of the hospital. Had she imagined it? Was exhaustion playing tricks on her mind? Doubt gnawed at her, threatening to engulf her. But then she noticed a small detail, a glint of light on the far wall. A photo frame lay on the floor, knocked askew. Emily approached it cautiously. The picture had fallen from the wall, revealing a dark stain beneath it, almost as if something had bled through the plaster. Horror tightened its icy grip around her heart. Was this room harboring something sinister? With trembling hands, Emily dialed the number for maintenance. As the minutes ticked by, each tick-tock amplifying her growing dread. The door to room 209 opened, letting in a shaft of bright light that illuminated a group of orderlies carrying a large, sealed package. The sight of the imposing bundle sent shivers down her spine. Was this related to the strange occurrences plaguing the room? Before she could question them, they disappeared down the hall, their hushed voices carrying snippets of conversation about hazardous materials. Emily's curiosity piqued, but the fear of what she might uncover kept her rooted to the spot. That night, sleep evaded her. Restless and anxious, she tossed and turned, haunted by visions of Mrs. Alden's pleading eyes. Emily knew she couldn't keep ignoring the whispers and shadows. Something wasn't right. Something was terribly wrong. Determined to get to the bottom of it, she decided to dig through Mrs. Alden's file, hoping to find something, anything, that could shed light on the mystery. The file contained Mrs. Alden's admission records, diagnoses, and treatment plans. But it was the incident reports that held the most alarming details. Emily's eyes widened as she read through the entries. Mrs. Alden had complained of excruciating pain, yet her chart showed no record of adequate pain management. Had the nurses and doctors failed in their duty of care? Is this why she had expired so suddenly? But there was more. Scratched at the bottom of one of the pages, Emily found a handwritten note mentioning bruised ribs and a fractured wrist. How could such serious injuries go unnoticed? Her heart sank as it dawned on her that these might be signs of foul play. Had someone harmed Mrs. Alden? The thought sent a chill down her spine. Grasping the file tighter, Emily's resolve hardened. She would find out what really happened to Mrs. Alden. No matter how dark the truth might be, she owed it to the patient, to her memory, and to the sanctity of the profession she had dedicated her life to. The following night, driven by a combination of fear and morbid curiosity, she returned to room 209. This time, she brought a voice recorder, hoping to capture any sound, any whisper that dared to emerge from the darkness. The night wore on, each hour seeming like an eternity. Just as dawn began to paint the eastern sky with hues of gray, Emily heard it. A whisper, faint yet distinct. "The doctor," the voice rasped. "The doctor killed me." Emily's blood ran cold. She quickly pressed record, and the room fell silent. When she played back the recording, the voice, weak and ethereal, spoke of neglect, of pain, and ultimately of murder at the hands of Dr. Keller, the same doctor whose name had been associated with multiple malpractice lawsuits. Armed with this new evidence, Emily knew she could no longer keep this to herself. Driven by a mix of fear and determination, she sought out the hospital administrator, determined to expose the truth. But to her dismay, her pleas were met with dismissive words. "You're letting emotions cloud your judgment," he said, his tone dismissive. "Don't chase ghosts." The administrator's reaction only fueled Emily's determination. She delved deeper into her investigation, poring over patient records, searching for any connection between Dr. Keller and other mysterious deaths. What she discovered shook her to her core. Two cases in particular stood out. They had all the hallmarks of foul play: similar symptoms, similar lapses in medical care, similar outcomes. And in both cases, the records had inexplicably been tampered with, crucial details erased as if Dr. Keller's crimes were being deliberately hidden. Faced with mounting evidence, Emily knew she had to take drastic measures. She contacted the media, leaking her findings to a reputable news outlet. Headlines blazed across newspapers and television screens detailing the sinister activities taking place within the hallowed halls of Mercy Hospital. Public outcry forced the authorities to act. Dr. Keller was suspended pending an investigation and subsequently arrested. His medical license was revoked, and a full inquiry into his actions was launched. As the storm of scandal and litigation engulfed Mercy Hospital, Emily found a measure of solace in knowing that she had brought the truth to light. The haunting in room 209 ceased abruptly. No more whispers, no more spectral apparitions. Only the faint scent of lavender lingered occasionally, a phantom echo of Mrs. Alden's presence. Now, whenever Emily walked the corridors of Mercy Hospital, she carried a small bottle of lavender oil with her. It wasn't just a fragrance. It was a tribute to a patient, a friend, and a symbol of her unwavering pursuit of justice. For in that quiet, dimly lit room, Emily had faced her fears and emerged victorious. She had proven that sometimes the most terrifying ghosts are the ones we cannot see, the ones that lurk in the shadows of our own complacency and inaction.